you're giving me something that every trainer dreams of getting, which is applause and admiration and your attention. Yet there is a different reason why I've come here. See, I always had problems listening about myself and how much I've achieved. And maybe it's because of my personal history. Maybe because when I was born in 1980, in the middle of communism, I was taught that we in Polish use the same word to describe someone who's poor and someone who is close to God. Which means that statistically, 80% of citizens of the country where I live would say somewhere along the line, when I get myself a nice fancy bespoke suit and drive a new car and feel divine because the God is granting me all these presents and gifts and I can show to other people, look, you can be rich as well. Somewhere along the line, there's always going to be a person who's going to look at me and say, you stole it. You're a thief. And I will defend myself, firstly. I will be thinking, I will convince him. It's not this way. You know, where have you been when I was working 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours every day for the last 10 years? And they will say, oh, well, you know what? So you're a workaholic. This is it. You work too much. You don't have family life. And then I will say, I have a small baby daughter and I spend time with her every single day. So I'm also a family man. And you know what? I also wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning when it's damn cold outside and it's snowing. And sometimes in Poland we get minus 25 Celsius winters. And sometimes I'm the only one running like this. And I see people coming back from parties looking at me as if I was an idiot. And I guess I am. I'm a very successful idiot. I'm a happy idiot. And I don't think that I will ever change that. So then, I go to the gym, I come back, and the person looks at me, and they think, well, you're the guy who trains muscles, right? And I go, of course. Every second day I go there, and I fight a demon when I take the barbell, and I do this. The last 2 repetitions are the most hard. And then the guy says, well, but if you train a lot, then you're not very clever, right? And I say, you know what? I finished 3 different universities. I speak 8 different languages. I wrote 6 books. I travel around the world and teach people how they can improve their lives. And they say, aha, I knew it. You're arrogant. That's it. You're just showing off. So then, see, I have big trouble taking applause and taking admiration. Maybe because all my life, it's been about the fight. It's been about doing something to firstly get rid of and later understand what it meant for a small boy in Koszalin in Poland, a small city, who was just 6 years old and was running behind German tourists, praying that they would lose 1 German mark. Because if they did, then I would pick it up and I would be just like people from the West. What a paradox it is, then right now I'm in Germany on the stage and German marks have come back in euros. So maybe it's that I have trouble taking applause because I always remember when I was 13 years old, I went for the first time outside of Poland and we started to travel and everything was so beautiful and so shiny and everything was so colorful. And I went and I started speaking English with other people, and what shocked me most was that my English was sometimes grammatically maybe even better than of some of the native speakers, yet when I was speaking, I felt ashamed and afraid that I would make a mistake. Do you know that feeling that you know that you can understand the language, yet you don't use it because there's something internally which is telling you, no, 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 if you make a mistake, they will think that you're not good enough and stuff like that. And then, oddly enough, many years later, I would go to a shop and the salesman would come up to me and say, can I help you with anything? And then I would use a very simple yet very clever technique of saying, I'm just watching. and I would run away, pretending on my way that I was still interested in some products over there. And I never thought what I was doing this. I never understood. One way, when I was going out from the shop, you know, there's this alarm checks on the way if you didn't steal anything, and I was always going outside and thinking, what if it starts to beep and they will think that I'm a thief? So I was going outside, and it came down on me finally how ashamed I felt of being who I am. And then when I'm on this stage in front of you, there is a part of me which, when it sees 2,000 amazing people who actually believe they can change the world, and belief is the beginning of every single human act, when I'm in front of all those people, having heard great speakers and seen you in so much energy, and when Piotr, thanks to whom in a great manner I'm here, introduces me in such a positive way, then always when I come onto the stage, there's something in me which is still like this. And I was thinking for many, many years that there was something wrong with me. Because then, when I'm getting more famous and I'm on TV, people say, you are becoming celebrity, you're not a teacher anymore. When I'm out of TV, then people would say, you're losing marketing, you're not good enough. Then, when I make more money, I'm a rich capitalistic pig. When I'm not making more money, then I'm poor and my business is not functioning. When I pray every day to God so that I have strength to understand His message, then I am too spiritual. When I stop praying, I'm just materialistic and I don't know how the world is functioning. So even though most of you cannot even pronounce my surname without a huge bottle of vodka, even though most of you have never seen me before, there is something deeper behind the labels that connects us. You know the feeling of what it's like when you go to a shop and you want to buy a product but you don't have money and you think, I would like to have that one day. You know the feeling which you have when you see a nice car and you say, I would like to belong inside that car. You know the feeling, you know what it's like to think that you are more than you've been given in the culture in which you were born, maybe in the family, maybe because of the social aquarium in which you were brought up and educated. You know it perfectly well, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Otherwise, you wouldn't work every single day to discover what's behind the very beliefs of the system which has been limiting you from the very beginning. So then I ask myself a question when people come to me, tell me how I can be successful. I ask them, are you ready for success? Because I tell you what's going to happen. See, the upper you go, the more beaten up you get. When you start to lose weight and you start training and working out and you're a woman and you become very attractive and you get yourself high heels and miniskirt and you're walking like this, showing that the divine beauty of feminine goddess can be projected through you so that other women can learn from you and see that you can be beautiful so they can copy and model the same behavior. When you walk like this in the street, one day, somewhere along the line, there will be a married couple walking. And they will be walking, and the man her husband, will look at you. And when he will look at you, he will have the sparkle in his eyes that his wife has not seen when he was looking at her. And then, maybe she hasn't seen it because for the last 20 years, she hasn't been to the fitness club or she hasn't been running. Maybe she hasn't seen this because she didn't give him compliments every day, not understanding that the only way for a man to grow is through the companionship of a goddess who gives him a sense in life. Maybe because in all those years, she has forgotten how beautiful she is and how she can shine. And she will look at you and, believe me, she will not think that you've got PhD in physics. She will use the words that I'm not going to repeat here, not because there's something wrong with you, because she sees in you everything she has ever dreamt of being, having, and seeing. And it's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that she knows she can have it, but she's not doing anything to be like that. So then, maybe you get yourself a nice, very fancy car, and it's all beautiful because you understand that right now, in modern 2014 era, Buddha cannot meditate under the tree for 6 years because he will be fined by the police. So maybe you understand that Buddha needs to enter Mercedes-Benz right now, so that spirituality doesn't have to be poor, and rich doesn't have to be empty, and you combine two words. And then maybe you go into a Mercedes and you're driving it and you're proud of yourself because you've been working hard to get there, because you know every single morning that you, when waking up, your internal dialogues were going, well, let's just sleep another 5 minutes. And the sheets are so warm and so nice. Let's work later on. Yet you are waking up, you are taking the first step, and you started to work, working every day, fighting every internal dialogue doubt of your ego, which was trying to project that you know that you're not who you truly know you are. And you are fighting it, and finally the success materialized. And finally you have that car, and you're driving it. And I remember the moment when I got myself a very nice meditation car, a Porsche Turbo. It's fantastic to meditate. Oh boy, trust me, you go into enlightened states in 3.7 seconds for 100 kilometers. You are enlightened just like this. Actually, you get connected to different dimensions when you cross 200 kilometers per hour. So I remember I was driving it, and I was so proud of myself because I was a still small kid from Koszalin, you remember, from a small city, who was running behind Germans because they would lose a Deutsche Mark. So suddenly I am inside this car and I go, Jesus, this is actually happening. This is mine. I had to check the driving license if I was an owner, and it said, I'm an owner, I'm an owner. So every day after the first 2 weeks when I bought it, I looked at the license and it said, Mateusz, Grzesiak, and I said, this is me. Is it me? Is it really me? Yes, this is me. So I'm driving this car in the streets of Warsaw, and then I stop on the red light, and suddenly there's this man who comes out, looks at my car, and does this. And when he does that, then there is something that is happening, and I was not that clever at the time. Something is happening in me, because something breaks in me, and I go, well, maybe this is not what I should be doing. And somewhere along the line, I start to doubt, and I start to think, maybe it is better to be mediocre. Maybe it is better to be normal. Maybe it is better to behave I'm stupid when I know I'm not. Maybe it is better when people go, how are you doing? Instead of saying, I'm fucking perfect. Maybe it's better to tell them, I'm curious how the translator are translating this into Romanian. So somewhere along the line, it broke, because I started thinking, maybe I shouldn't actually dream the way I'm dreaming. Maybe it's not that I was right, maybe someone else was right. Because when I was 15 and I was asked a question, so, who would you like to be in life? I said, I would like to be a millionaire. And they said, no. You got it all wrong. You cannot be a millionaire. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. You can be an engineer. You cannot be a millionaire. Millionaire is not a job. And I go, but if you're successful in anything, you can be very rich, right? And they say, well, if you're lucky. So then I got a new god. His name was Lucky. And I was looking for him. I was going. And then he came when I was a child in the form of cartoon, Lucky Luke. So then, I was thinking that one day I will become lucky. But then when I saw this cowboy, I was thinking anything that is connected, a boy is connected with a cow, somehow doesn't make sense for me. You know, woman, boy, I understand that, but cowboy is very tricky, I must say. So then I thought, maybe this concept of lucky is naive. Maybe it's not how it goes. So when I was 19, I started to study law, and I was studying law not because I loved it, but at that time, in my culture, nobody thought about being passionate about what you do. I just started to study it because my parents said, you will not be as poor as we were, so get yourself a stable job. And I said, Mom, but I don't like it. And she said, but you will like the money that it brings. And she was wrong. There is no price for which you can sell your potential, because no matter what you do, if you're good at it, you will always make money. So I was thinking all my life, up to this moment, when I'm here on this stage, going between two worlds. The one world is the world in which I'm just a regular guy. I'm just like everyone else. I agree with people because it means that I will be accepted. And I say what I imagine they want to hear. And when I go into a shop, I don't look at the most expensive products. I look at the ones that are useful, because it's not good to spend too much money, you know. And there's another world. The world in which I say what I want. I work pursuing my dream, imagining that one day a small boy will talk to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who will actually want to listen to him. I work every day hard, fighting not only external demons, but especially internal ones, which seduce me into thinking that I'm not good enough, that it's important what other people will tell about me, that it's more important to check how many likes on Facebook I got instead of working, so that later on I can be more prepared to give you more knowledge. And I'm between two worlds. So I need to do a reality check. Have you seen a movie Inception, in which they want to tell the difference between the real world and the dream world, and they use a small trick over there? I need to use the same trick with you. Is this actually happening right now, that I'm in front of 2,000 people, speaking in a different language, and those people actually want to listen to me? Is it really happening right now? Because then, once you realize that, it changes you. You become something else entirely. You stop thinking about being accepted. You start talking from the depth of your heart, understanding that there's nothing else you can do but be yourself. Another reality check. If I am myself and I tell you about my deepest fears and my deepest dreams, and I tell you that the only thing that interests me is being the best in the world and everything is details, will you help me to achieve that, or you will criticize me? If you help me, then it changes me completely and I become something else entirely, and stop thinking that maybe I would be regular or just very good. I make myself a picture of who I want to be later on, and I start working and working and working, and every day, whatever I do, there's always someone going to be along the line saying, no, you know what, you're not good enough. And I will say, but I'll prove to you that I'm good enough. Just give me 5 minutes, let me speak for a while. And then they will say, I don't know, you know, because they will keep on projecting all the limits they have onto me. If I tell you that I've come here for a very important reason, I've come here to teach you something that will stay with you for the rest of your lives, then will you listen to me? Yes. In this case, now I'm ready to start my presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, When you get motivated, now my internal psychologist is talking. When you get motivated, the motivation goes like this. A bit like orgasm of a man. Oh, you actually know this. You actually do know this. Women go, unfortunately, that's true. So, I don't want to end up like that. I want you, after this seminar, to actually go out and carry on being even more motivated with everything you do. So I've prepared some information from you, information which you start using once you go out from here is going to help you maintain the level of motivation that you've gotten here and also improve every day so that every day you wake up with more energy, every day you wake up with better belief system, every day when you wake up you look at your wife or your husband or anyone else who's sleeping in your bed, and even if they go like this, you go, actually, someone wants to be in my bed. So please listen for the next 40 minutes and you will learn a lot and you will become more clever and you will be more intelligent so that when you come back home, you can actually understand the reason why we've met. And the reason is way more profound that we can understand. 2,000 people in one single room believing that they can create the lives that they've always dreamed of doesn't happen every day. Every day, today is Sunday, and most probably, some people are waking up with a huge hangover going, Jesus, why don't I have the life that I've always dreamt of? I know, because I'm drinking every day. Maybe that's why. Someone today will wake up in the morning with 100 kilograms too much and say, where did that come from? Yesterday it was not here. That spaghetti killed me. That was too much. Someone today will wake up and go, Jesus Christ, who is that woman? Oh my God, the woman has beard and mustache. Why cannot I find a partner for the rest of my life who's going to love me? I'm really depressed. I have to find a psychoanalyst, who for the rest of my life is going to psychoanalyze me, just to make sure what my dreams are about. So, having fun yet? I don't actually know if this water is mine, but if this water was drank by a diamond, then I will have better genetics afterwards. So listen and watch. And rule number one, create environments. We as human beings are dependent on the environment in which we function. So, when you go to Brazil, you will find snakes which can be way more big than the snakes which live in Venezuela. It's the same anaconda, but because of the aquarium is bigger, then the animal gets to grow and change the size. The same thing is going to happen with the turtles and with fish. When I was in Brazil working, and I learned Portuguese to be able to do that, I went into a nice, very beautiful restaurant, and they say, here you can buy ribs of fish. And I said, excuse me, ribs of fish? And they say, yeah, we've got very nice ribs, you'll love it. So they bring ribs of fish this size. And then, being an educated man, I figure out that if the rib is like this, the head is not like this, and the tail is not small neither. And this fish, once it's put into the aquarium, it will stop growing and changing its size. Think about human minds. Culture is aquarium. Every possible language is aquarium. In my language, in Polish, we've got, and this is what linguistics experts are saying, 455 words to describe human intellectual capabilities. 449 words are negative. Which means that we Polish are experts in criticizing, in analyzing what doesn't work, in figuring out how we can destroy anything. because we don't have the language which can make us more happy, more intelligent, more profound. Which means that language is also going to implement certain constraints. You know that in Spanish, and I'm married to a Mexican girl, you know that in Spanish they use the same word, which is esposas, to talk about this, a wife, and handcuffs. And he's saying that it's true. Well, that's his personal bad experiences, but this means that we are born inside the language, and from the very beginning, we are growing to the sizes of aquarium. So if I decide to learn, then the question is, will my aquarium let me show my greatest potential, or will it limit me? And the aquarium can be different. Maybe it's people you're surrounded with who are not more clever than you are. There's people who, instead of motivating you, they say, you know what, it's difficult, life is bad, da. And you go, I don't want to listen to that shit. My life is beautiful, my life is fantastic. When I wake up in the morning, even though it's cold outside, so what? I'm going to put on a jacket and I enjoy the snow. And then maybe they will say, no, because it's going to snow for the rest of the week. And you go, so what? It doesn't matter. So maybe you should think about environments whom you spend your time with. My rule has always been being with people who are more clever than I am, because it means that I will grow and I will improve faster. Maybe you want to start studying English. Some of you are using headsets. Maybe you don't know that in English we've got 550,000 words, but an educated British person knows 25,000 no's. It doesn't mean they use them. When it comes to usage, they use only between 2,000 and 3,000 words in 95% of situations, and they limit to 600 words in more than 80% of situations. If you know that, statistics are working for you. So when I started, and I worked in Italy, started to learn Italian. I started to listen to radio in Italian. I started to repeat how Italians were talking. And I remember there was this radio with a presenter whose name was Francesco Conti, Cosa succede? So there was Francesco Conti, and I started to repeat and talk like Francesco Conti. I was becoming Francesco Conti. So after some time, after 3 weeks of listening to that programming, my wife says, Matteo, let's go to my bed. And I say, Francesco Conti, now I'm going. So my wife, who's that? And I go, cosa succede? Mateusz Conti, you know. Because I started to implement this, but oh boy, I learned Italian very fast. The same way which I was doing with different languages. Então agora posso falar com vocês português, por exemplo, a versão mais brasileira. E a verdade é que aprendi português só durante 3 dias, todo o tempo ouvindo os rádios, especialmente de São Paulo. So I learned and I started to speak Portuguese after 3 days. And there's someone who comes to me and says, this is impossible. And I go, but I speak it. It's even on television when they interviewed me. And they said, you're talented. And I go, I'm not talented. It's another Lucky Luke, you know, talent. Where's my talent? Where's my talent? I'm not talented, I work very hard, and I am clever, so I have systems which I use which help me function in a typical way. So you need to organize the environment in which you can grow. You don't need to motivate a plant to grow. You don't have to come up and say, you will do it, you can become a tree. And the plant goes, okay, thank you. You don't need to do that. What you need is to pour water inside. What you need is to give it some light and eliminate the cat, because the cat would use it as toilet. So once you do this, then the plant will grow. Change the word cat for the word child, and think what is necessary for it to grow. Change the word child for the word client, and think what is necessary so that he feels secure, he feels motivated, and he wants to join your organization, because you start solving problems that people have and no one else can solve them as good as you can. So once you come back home, Create environment of growth on intellectual, emotional, social, financial, ambitious, and spiritual level. If you open my computer, it's in Portuguese. I listen to radio in Portuguese. My television is in Portuguese, just because right now I'm exploring Brazilian market. So everything turns into Portuguese. Finally, it's not me who is learning, it's my brain that is adopting itself constantly to the situation. So if you surround yourself by people who are more clever than you, who are richer than you, then these people will make you model their behaviors in an unconscious way, and you will become effective in a very, very fast way. Constantly immerse yourself in positive stimuli. Don't use a seminar as a one-time event. Create a lifestyle in which you want to function, so that when you wake up in the morning, you start with positive energy. I read the statistics, and having worked with people who are very, very rich, they always have certain characteristics which we can model. The first thing they always do, they are grateful. So every day when I wake up in the morning, even though my wife is going and what a lie it is. When we first met, and she's a beautiful Mexicana, the first time we met, every day she was waking up at 7 a.m., I was waking at 8 a.m., and she would have makeup when I was waking up. Now women are laughing. I am not, because it's too late right now. Well, she was more clever than I did, which it should always be with men and women relationship. So then I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I say, thank you, God, that I'm married. Thank you, God, that my child is here. Thank you, God, that we have all these things that we've got around our home. Thank you that I've got 2 legs so I can walk. Thank you very much that actually I have bed I can lie on, and I do this non-stop for 5 minutes. Once I do this, I go into love abundance. I start saying, this, what I have, is enough right now. I'm cleaning my teeth and I say, I am happy I am doing this. I look into the mirror, and even if, and every year it's just getting worse, I am more like this, I will say, hello, I like you, and I will do this. Because even if you smile artificially, you still make that your brain produces chemicals. Would you like to try that? Let's drag you right now. Repeat after me. Ah. Ooh. Ee. Mm. So how do you feel now? You see, it's so simple. So every day I look into the mirror and I'm so sleepy, and they go, and finally, my brain starts to produce chemicals that are necessary. Create environment. Environment will make you grow in a very potentious way. You, and I've always been so grateful for this to your organization, that you probably are the most important single factor that is responsible for positive thinking in the world. Isn't that true? You want to develop, you want to be more clever, you want to be motivated, you want to be optimistic, you know how important this is in life, and this is your fantastic responsibility, and I will always be grateful for that. So once you understand that it's all about education, start developing yourself on different levels, not only on one level, for instance, sales, because other levels are also necessary. You cannot end up like guys who go to the gym, but they never train legs because legs are too difficult. Later on, after many years, you will look like a Spider-Man. You will be big here, but you will walk like this. You have to develop holistically on different levels. So once you do this, please remember that you make yourself an educational plan. In the first week, you practice sales. You choose one technique that you learned from all these clever and beautiful people who've been presenting here. You talk to your sponsor, and you take one technique, and every day you practice it. Every day, every day, every day. If the technique is, for instance, smiling, every day think about smiling, come up to people and go. And if they say, you look like a monkey, then you go, I'm sorry. And maybe they will laugh. Of course, that at the very beginning, when you practice it, it will be artificial, it will not be functional, but finally you will get there. Whatever we practice, we become masters at. Second week, choose relations. Start to relate to people. Start thinking what is necessary so that people trust you, so that people figure out that you're a person who can change their life, so that people connect you with education and with becoming more clever on different levels. The fourth week, practice communication. And again, choose one technique. Maybe it will be some sort of linguistic pattern. Maybe it will be some sort of a linguistic technique. Whatever this is, choose one thing and practice it every day. And once you practice it, you become better. Don't ask me what's going to happen in a week. Ask me whom you're going to be in a year, whom you're going to be when you are 10 years from now, whom you're going to be in 20 years' time. Don't think about tomorrow only. Have a huge plan for the rest of your life. All people who are successful and rich, they actually think what's going to happen after they die, not only during their lifetime. Once you do this, organize yourselves. Not only one eye inside, but different eyes. I have different eyes. I'm a teacher, I'm a businessman, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a man, and all of them need to be directed in different way. This is why sometimes people have conflicts, because they don't know how to connect, for example, family life and their professional life. To avoid this conflict, organize yourselves. And remember that in your life, you should have free time for yourself, you should have time for your family, because if family is dysfunctional, and this is what research is showing, if family is not working, then it's very hard to be successful at work. Actually, something very nice, again, internal psychologist is talking, that you will like, is that a man, on average, is most successful and reaches his highest potential when he's between 40 and 65. And this is due to the fact that he's not chasing women anymore. There is a second factor that you will love, but women, please promise me you will not manipulate and abuse it, because this is important information. When a man becomes very successful and he changes his wife for a younger model, you know what I say, then normally his success also goes down. Please don't abuse it, because now you come back home and you say, you know what, I listened to this psychologist and he told me one thing you should know about. This, all the money that you're making, you know what, I would like 30% please, because I'm maintaining it. And it's actually true, because we are all connected. Remember that if I want to practice my biceps, I have to practice my triceps, because the whole body is connected one to another, and all this functions in a holistic, organized way. So, to do your life management in a creative way, ask yourself a question: where and when you will do each activity, so that you specify, define time and define place. Think precisely what kind of activities you will do once you are there. For instance, if you want to have a meeting with a client, specifically define where, when, how you will talk to them. Imagine all this inside your head. A very famous 26-time world champion in swimming, Michael Phelps, when he was a child, his trainer, before he went into the swimming pool, made him greet, "I will be a champion." And before he was greeting, before he was shouting this, he was not allowed to enter a swimming pool. And you know what? His dream finally became reality, just like all of us. We have to imagine and we have to start programming our brains in a very, very specific way. So think about results. What are you expecting to achieve? Go there in order to learn something. Even if you have a meeting and you're rejected by the first person, by the second person, by the fourth person, yes, of course, this will happen at the very beginning when you're starting, but it doesn't matter, because from each meeting you can learn something. You can ask yourself a question: what specifically did I train? How am I getting a little bit better? How am I improving my results? So after first meeting, second meeting, after 50 meetings, even if financially they were not yet successful, you will be more clever, you will be more intelligent, and trust me, once you become an expert in this, you will always make money, because you will understand how people think, you will understand how market is functioning, and you will be able to help people so that they can achieve their dreams by solving also the problems that they have. What are your intentions? Why will you be doing this? Why do you want to go there? Do you go there to be accepted? You're not a model on the catwalk. You don't go to a client to go, hello, look how beautiful I am. You don't go there to show your spirituality and your intellect so that they accept you. This is not your job. If you want to do this, become a model. If you go and if you talk to a client, you go there for a very simple reason. This person, if they buy your product, they will have better lives, and this is it. And if they don't understand it yet, they have to be convinced. Imagine a very simple thing. Imagine that I am selling insurance. Imagine that I have a young gentleman who is 18 years old, and he just started to ride a motorcycle. The biggest amount of accidents, the biggest number of accidents happens when 4 men between the age of 18 and 25. Why? Because they have these egos and these abilities. So once they start riding a motorcycle, there is a huge chance that they will kill themselves and maybe even other people. If someone doesn't sell them insurance, if someone doesn't push them to buy insurance, you know what will happen? They will be dead, and maybe their families will end up with financial problems. So if you know, if you believe in your product, if you know that your product is good, when you know that it will change the life of people, push, 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 and convince in a clever way, because you have to have a charisma inside of you which believes every single word that you're saying and using. You don't have to think so much about the techniques. You have to think that if this person doesn't do that you know is helpful for them, they will not have the life that you want to give them, and you can actually support them on the way to become someone better. This is how the selling is done. And first, we always think about techniques that we need, but later on, there's something more important. Later on, there's charisma. You just look into your client's eyes and you say, this is good for you. And once they understand it, because every single fiber of your soul, of your body, of your mind, of all your personalities will believe that what you're doing is good, is correct, is positive, is useful. And then you become important. Not important in a celebrity way. You become important because things you do change the world. And I imagine that one day, my daughter, who is just 3 years old, I imagine that once she goes to a shop who maybe is managed by your son or your daughter, she will be treated with respect, she will be treated with honor, she will be treated in a very good, positive way, and when she buys the product for young children, I will be somewhere there, lying under the ground, thinking, oh God, I'm happy, because thanks to you, the world for her is simple, is better, and she doesn't have to feel the way I felt when I was at her age. So stop thinking so much if you will be accepted, because this is not your job. Stop thinking so much if people will agree with you, because I tell you something, they will not. Most of them prefer to be mediocre, not because they are not able to achieve what you're achieving, because they are afraid what others will think. When they did statistical research on what people are most angry about, they didn't do in their lives. Things that people didn't do when they were alive, because now those people they statistically talk to, these people were dying in hospitals. They go, what do you regret the most? And they say, I regret I didn't have the life that I dreamt of having, and I was thinking too much if others would accept me. So if you know what you're doing, you know your product, go there and start convincing. If the first time you go, psh, then you go, excuse me, psh, you go, excuse me, psh, and they go, excuse me, psh, and finally you will end up going, oh Jesus, this is really happening. Because your life will not be easier when you do this. It actually will be harder. But leaders are born so that they sacrifice their lives for others. This is not my problem if I will be accepted. My problem is if you go outside, if you will change the world so that my daughter can be more happy. This is my problem. I am not afraid of dying. I've got people that I love around me, and I can give my life like that. What I'm afraid of is that I will not understand the reason why I've been born, so that I become special, not to look into the mirror and go, I'm perfect, so that I am here becoming a mirror for your potential and understanding that you can be better and more clever, because then your life becomes valuable, then your life becomes important, then you stop having problems which are too small for you. You are too intelligent to have little problems. You cannot grow as a sailor on calm waters. You have to go there, you have to find the storm, you have to face it, you have to confront it, and you have to say, demons, come, and go. And yes, it will be difficult, of course it's difficult. So what? You've been made to lead. You've been made to shine. There's a diamond within you. You have to take it out, release it, show it to people, so that once they see it, they are starting to think, I can be like them. And then, and of course you still have problems, but these problems are different. They are of a different caliber. This is not a problem of rejection anymore. There would be a problem of, will I actually understand the God message that I am important and I can actually change the world? Worry about this. Don't worry if the client says, okay, or says, no, not okay, because today client has a diarrhea and he's like this. And he's running to the bathroom, and you come and you say, hello, I've got the product, and the client goes, not now. Maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe just not the time. So don't worry about this. Focus, focus, focus. Work hard, and you will get where you want to go. 4, confront your shadows. Always, when there's light, there will be a shadow. So you want to be admired? Perfect, but there will be a fear of rejection. Okay, so you want to change the world's problems? Perfect, but there will always be fear. Perfect, so you want to have strength? Every strength has a shadow of being aggressive or being angry. Shadow is always there. Don't run away from problems. Confront them. You think there's people who are not afraid? Everyone is afraid. But the question is, who and what are you afraid of? Fear is a horrible God. Fear is a demon, and I am afraid of him. But there's one thing that I don't do. I don't pray to him. I have different guts. I have guts of determination. I have guts of motivation. I have guts of love, of compassion, of consecration, so that my life has sense. I don't pray to demon of fear. So when he comes, I don't go into, oh no, I'm so poor, please don't attack me. Or I don't go into, I am so special that I can solve any problem, because this is not true. When he comes, I take a deep breath and I wait, because I know that every single thing I confront, I become stronger with. So I eat fear, I digest it, and once it's digested, I have no problem no more, and I look for another one which is bigger than I am, so that with humility, I can come up and say, please, come. And the fear will come, and the rejection will come, and the lack of acceptance will come, and maybe someone will get aggressive. And then I will do my best to be calm, to breathe, and understand that sailors don't learn on calm waters. And I understand what my role is. Remember why you do this for, so that the next time when the demon comes, you will be there. You will not trust internal dialogues which will make you feel rejected or inferior or worse. You will just stand there, wait, and the fear will go, because it will understand you that you don't worship him, and he will be gone. And you will have an open path to come to a person, and with the love and compassion in your eyes, tell them, I know how I can change your life. And then you will be powerful. Don't run away from problems. Find the ones which will make you grow. Find the barbell in the gym, which is hard enough so that you can grow when you use it. Find a dragon, which, when you fight, you will be hit a few times, but finally, you will master it, and finally, you will become better, because you need a strong stimuli to become more clever, to become faster, to become more agile, to become more flexible, to become better. People take up on problems which are too small for them. Get yourself a dragon that is big enough. Today, I heard very amazing stories and very clever stories about the beautiful Argentinian saying that in the lands there is a person without an eye can be a king. There is another one that we have in Polish which is similar. When you go into a kindergarten, you are always very, very strong. Don't go into a kindergarten to compare yourselves to people who are weaker. Help people who are weaker so that they become stronger than you are, because every master's dream is that their students and clients become more clever and effective than they are. Get feedback. 3 things you learned today. How did you specifically become clever? Use this sheet every day in the evening. Always when we go to bed with my wife, before the kissing procedure starts, we go into, what did we learn today? 3 things that made us better human beings. What are the 3 things that we will specifically improve later on? Maybe we will be more calm in X situation. Maybe we will act in a bit different way. Specify it. Your brain needs very concrete and precise installations and strategies. How will you do it specifically? And remember about being grateful. And then, of course, the kissing comes. And kissing is just the best motivator that exists, you know. So, remember about first impression. Look at this guy. He's got tidy hair. He's likable. He's smiling, he's happy, he's trustworthy, he's present. He doesn't look at his watch. He doesn't think that, I will harm you, I will manipulate you. He doesn't do this. He has an assertive handshake. It is not a fish. You know a slimy fish technique? Hello. Don't use the slimy fish technique. Be assertive. Look into people's eyes. He's got fresh looks. He's open. He's clean-shaven. He's outgoing. He doesn't go into, I will sell you something today. He doesn't do this. He opens himself to people so that people feel better when they are in his companionship. Naturally, he becomes an emotional leader, even if people don't know who he is. Remember that in first impressions, you've got 3 seconds when brain defines you as a person who's likable or a person who is competent. When you become likable, the brain is going to treat you like a friend, person who's going to be nice to have companionship with, a person who they can socialize with. If you become competent, then they can do business with you. They can give you money. Guess which categories you need at the same time? Both. So you have to be smiling, and you have to know when, in which moment, to stop being too emotional and become a bit more rational and a bit more logical, so that they actually know that with you they can have fun, but not too much. And they can talk about business, but it's not only business, because finally we are not only logical creatures, we also want to feel good. Remember about being trustworthy. The research, psychological research, is showing that we need 5 aspects: authority, experience, show that you are similar to the person with whom you're talking, and the best way is by showing that you've got similar problems. Give them trust, and be physically attractive. Physical attractiveness in the world of Facebook is done, not born with. Train a bit. Get yourself a nice suit. Get yourself a nice jacket. Be well-groomed, so that people, when they look at you, they go, and they know that you are someone they want to be around. And guess what? If they want to be around you, they will buy from you. Once you've got this, build multi-level relationships. Focus on different levels of connection. Maybe you can help people with their finances, which means that thanks to you, they will make more money. Maybe you can help them with emotions so that they can feel better when they are around you. Maybe thanks to you, they can become someone who they are always dreamt of being, which is the level of ambition. Maybe thanks to you, they can solve the problems, or they can get access to social circles to which they want to belong. Maybe with you, they can help the others, just like the Mowa Foundation, so that they are stimulated by giving, and a special part in our brain makes us feel important. Maybe because they will be self-realized and they can become a person who's an individual, who knows their limits and who knows their missions. Maybe they will become a person with you who knows what their life is consecrated to, so that it starts to have a vision, so that they start to have a mission and they know what they are ready to die for. Maybe thanks to you, they will connect to God more. All of this is a multi-level relationship, and all this means that there's many different factors you can connect with people. Guess which do you need? All of them. Of course, all of them. Of course, all of them. So practice. You can use the same thing with your clients and with your spouses and with your children. Maybe you've got finances connected, but you're missing a bit of emotions. So maybe every now and then, come up to them and say, "Woohoo!" And they will go, "Why are you doing this?" And you go, "Woohoo!" And they go, "Why are you not serious?" And you go, "Ah." So that they feel better around you, just for the sake of it. Remember, whom do we like? Become the person who's likable. We like people who are smiling. There's research which shows that when a waitress is touching a client, but I'm talking about these places, because otherwise it's not a waitress. When she's touching the clients, she gets more money from the client. We like people who are well-groomed, people who are present, people who don't run away thinking about different aspects, but they really sacrifice their time so that the moment becomes important. Even if it's 5 minutes or 15 seconds, be present, look into people's eyes, be calm, and tell them the message that you have in using the least words possible. We like people who are assertive, people who are interesting, people who can laugh about themselves, who are not very serious, people who are not standoffish and are like this, but people who have a certain distance to themselves. We like people who are similar to us, open, positive, and self-confident. Which means that once you think about these factors, take one factor and practice it for the whole week. Practice smiling for the whole week. Practice making eye contact for the whole week. Not a zombie style. But every now and then, just catch their eye so that they know you're here, you're present, and you're ready to help them in any way necessary. Rule number 8, think big. You're too clever to think small. You cannot have too small a dragon, because otherwise you will not get the strength that is necessary for you to achieve the life that you want to have. Always define a vision. So ask yourself, what will be left behind after you die? And once you have this, you can actually realize that the vision is always bigger than you are. Because if this is bigger, then it means that you have to challenge yourself. And when you challenge yourself, you grow. And when you grow, you become more clever. Think about your mission, which way you will choose to get there. In my case, it's education. My vision is very simple. I want so that people everywhere in the world have access to soft skill communications, like emotional intelligence, financial intelligence, spiritual intelligence, so that they don't have to go through 20 years of useless educational system in which they learn the capital city of Burkina Faso, which I'm sure that every day in the morning you think, what was the capital city of Burkina Faso? Do you do logarithm for lunch? Do you do geometry at night? And before you go to bed, you think about pollution in Cambodia in 1975. But every day, you want to feel connected with people. Every day, you want to be special. Every day, you want to be better human being. And then you have objectives. What do you need to actually get there? And once you do this, then your mission is done, and you can be satisfied and go home and promise people that if they want to take photos with you, you will be waiting down there outside in the store at your place, having the greatest opportunity to say not only thank you, but also muito obrigado, but also muchísimas gracias por escucharme y qué bueno que ustedes están aquí los españoles. Qué pena que no tenía una chance y oportunidad de hablar en español con ustedes, mas quién sabe, la próxima vez puede ser. So, and not forgetting about final part, nigdy nie pozwólcie, żeby ktokolwiek ze zachodu w naszych głowach był w naszych głowach lepszy od nas. Zróbcie tak, żebyśmy my jako Polacy wyszli z durnych kompleksów sprzed 200 lat i dajcie szansę temu, żeby nasze dzieci nie musiały się wstydzić, tak jak my się wstydziliśmy przez długie lata, czując się gorsi, że nie mamy forsy, że jesteśmy złodziejami i innymi pierdołami. Więc przestańcie to robić i zacznijcie budować naród, za pomocą którego możemy być dumni. Przez to, że stojąc tutaj na tej scenie, reprezentuję również was, będąc dumnym z tego, że tutaj jestem. Więc dziękuję wam za support, za pomoc i życzę wszystkiego dobrego. Thank you very much.